It'd be my pleasure. Are you leaving?
Going down south.
He loves me. It's okay. Hey, what is this? Grubby dude. Yeah, you moved.
I know I
I couldn't see on the computer.
So, Brian wants you to come back to work. Why is he calling you? But you don't work for the company anymore. Until that Okay, also, if he wants us to take, if he's going to do a special job, then you tell him to get a license. He's too easy. That business will be yeah, I remember that name.
The hammer, that's my hammer. Don't mess with my hammer.
One is,
We have like 1,000.
oh, okay. Well, I was just going to I found them when I was going through looking for stuff. I think that was found. Usually when you get an award from LAF,
Okay,
and I came to Pinto, I got found it, and as I go through boxes, I find these, I get to her that way, you know, you got them.
got it. Okay, everybody. No one changed my name after today. I hear my name from everywhere, but I'm going to introduce our speaker and let him get into his message today. I'm not going to go and talk all about how I know him and all that. I'm sure he's going to talk a little bit about that. So let's give a big welcome to Mike Murphy. He has created many foundations for breast cancer, a huge philanthropist, and he's going to talk about a little bit about life, love, loss, and giving back, and some other stuff. So, Mike Murphy, please.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, okay, hey, thank you very much. As Brent said, my name is Mike Murphy, and unlike you, I would imagine that most of you coming here this morning knew why you were coming here. I didn't. And I came for one simple reason, is Brent asked me to. And I know his heart, and I'm going to talk a little bit later about that, because that's the frequency that I operate my life under now, is from the heart. And so I actually flew 3,700 miles to be here, probably a little further than some of you. And, thank you. Because my heart said go. And I didn't even know what Lions was. In fact, when I was going through the little gate here, I asked, can you tell me where the Kiwanis meeting is? And I'm sure that's an inferior operation compared to this one. Because I will tell you this, I know why I'm here now. Because my heart has been fulfilled. And I am more whole and I'm more complete to witness this experience of people coming together in the spirit of love and service to those less fortunate. And that's really what my life is about now. And to watch you guys make those, so efficiently make those bags of food, I didn't even have a room to contribute. There was more volunteers than there was work to do. But it filled my heart to see that and to know that an organization, that young man that spoke earlier that's doing all this work, an organization like that exists to make the world a little better place. And that's really what I'm going to share with you today. But one thing I've learned, and the other thing is, I'm told by Tim, who was gracious enough to explain the Lions organization to me, that the average age is 69 years old in this room. So, and I'm 65, so that's why I feel so comfortable here. But, so when I was driving up here from Vacaville this morning, I think, Fairfield, I stayed somewhere on 80, and going through the two-leaf fog, which I haven't experienced in many, many decades now, I said, okay, well, what should I talk about? What should I talk about? And so I ask questions, and then I wait for the answers. And so the first thing was heart. So I'm going to talk a lot about heart and opening the heart and feeling the heart. And then the next thing is, and ironically, was courage. Lions, courage. So I thought I was going to Kiwanis Club, so now I know where the courage came from. And the next one is power. I want to talk a little bit about power today, taking back our power, realizing that we are the person that has to make it happen in our life. No one else is going to do it but you. And then purpose. And I heard someone speak to that earlier this morning. That's what you guys were doing today. There's amazing purpose. And I talk a lot in my books about energy, vibration, and frequency. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, you have to understand energy, vibration, and frequency. So everybody that participated in that little bag of food, it's energy vibrating at a certain frequency, and now it's going to go out into the world and is going to serve someone less fortunate than us. And they're going to be blessed, but I want to tell you something. You're going to get a greater blessing than that person that receives that package. And here's the beautiful thing for those of you familiar with the Bible. The Bible says you've given, it shall be given back to you. But it doesn't come back 1-to-1. It comes back 5x, 10x, 15x, 20x. So for all of you that had a pure heart with no agenda, and package that food out, that energy, that vibration frequency, and I promise you, you are going to be blessed. It's we have physical laws, like if I were to drop something here, gravity, it continues to drop. It's called the law of gravity. But in the unseen world, which is where I try to live, in the world of infinite possibilities, the quantum field, okay, there's different laws. And one is you cannot outgive God. You cannot outgive the universe. And the more you give, the more you're blessed. And so that's the frequency that I try to live my life in today. So, heart. I always say this to people, that the hardest, longest journey that you're ever going to take in your life is only 18 inches long. And it's moving from here, the mind, the egoic mind, the story, the false self, back into your heart. Because this is where you came from. This is where you lived as a child. You didn't even have a story, okay? You just lived here. And you were pure, and you were joy, and you were love. And you came from that in the quantum field, and you set an intention to be born into this physical reality. And so, we're made of gazillions of atoms. Okay, that's a fact. And the other fact is atoms are 99.999999% space. So in reality, the illusion is this solidity, this physicalness, okay? But I'm really space, energy. It's all energy. And there's no greater energy than love. And love in action becomes a verb, and that's service, and that's contribution. So I just want to thank you all for showing up here and providing that love, providing that service, and I'm just grateful to be here and to be a part of that. Talk a little bit about Brent, so why would a guy fly 3,700 miles to come to what he thought was a Kiwanis meeting in Sacramento, California, and then bring $1,000 worth of gifts with them. It's because I know the man's heart. See, you guys probably know his story. You know, you probably have a visual. You know, if I say Brent, you have a visual, you have a story. But I know the heart. Let me tell you how I learned about his heart. December 1st, 2010, my wife Margot, who had been struggling with breast cancer for 8 years, was told by the doctor, Margot, unfortunately the cancer is spread to the lining of your brain. If you do nothing, you have 6 weeks to live. And if you treat it, you have 6 months to live. We never discussed it, we just went full bore into treating it. Now my wife Margot came from advertising for Telemundo, but I was a car dealer in the San Francisco Bay Area, so she wanted to come work with me. And so one of the first things she did in her new job working the car dealership business was to find Brent, and somewhere, I think he was back east, I don't know where it was, find him, get all excited about him, bring him to Oakland, California to work in, I don't even know what his job was, to be honest with you. And but that she found him, so they had a little special connection. And so when she got this diagnosis, I said, okay, what can we do from a spiritual perspective, from the quantum field, from an energy perspective? You know, we're going to go see the doctors and follow all those directions and do all that. We went to MD Anderson, we went to UFC, we went everywhere. We went to India. So, but what can we do in the quantum? So I said, okay, let's create a website called Send Margot Love. Well, like I said, I'm 65 years old, like you guys, I don't know anything about the electronic world, nor do I want to. So I called Brent. I said, dude, I need you to help me out, man. My wife's got this issue, we need to create a website. And so he ran this website, and literally, we had people all, because we had a map on it, you could see, people would sign up to pray for her 5 minutes a day, every day. And we had people all over the world setting their clock and would pray in 5 minutes increments for her healing. It was so amazing, so profound. I would write these heartfelt blogs, and so would she, when she had moments of clarity and enough energy, she would write these blogs, and so many hearts and so many lives were touched. And so you might be wondering, well, gee, you guys did all this praying and all this stuff, and she still died, almost 6 months to the day. So what was the point? Let me tell you something. She didn't die. She didn't die, and you can never die. Because your energy, your timeless, infinite consciousness, that's who you really are. You're not your body. Your body's made up. Right? Since I've been talking, I've probably had 1 billion cells die and 1 billion cells be born. Okay? I'm not my body. That I know for a fact. Every time I look in the mirror, I go, that's not you anymore. Okay. And I'm not my thoughts. Okay? I am infinite. The part of God, the divine, is right here. We're always looking out for God. We want to find it. It's looking out, looking out. No, it's right here. It's quieting this down and moving from here to here. And that's where you'll find yourself again. And that's where you'll find your power. You know, a year ago in February, I was blessed and fortunate. I had a very difficult childhood, and I'll talk about that in a second. But my father was dying, and he was 87. And my mother had been gone for 14 years. And my dad never had the ability to love. He couldn't feel his heart. He couldn't love. He was a broken man. He grew up in an alcoholic home. Both parents were alcoholics. 14, he became a ward of the state of California. He just didn't. God bless him, he just couldn't get here, right? And so I always say, listen, you're going to make this journey at some point in your life, and unfortunately for most of us, it's in that last breath. So I was fortunate in Rossmore, California, Walnut Creek, whatever it is, to sit at my father's deathbed in February last year and watch that movement, watch that transition. As I'm sitting there, praying and talking and singing, the tears started to flow. The man was unconscious, like barely conscious, okay, and immobile, you know, and barely there. And I just saw these tears as I shared my heart with him. I saw this man move from here to here. I saw him take that last breath in peace, just like I'd seen my wife Margot, 11 years prior. And so that was the miracle in her life, is that we took those 6 months And we lived our life as if she was going to beat it and keep living, and simultaneously preparing for that moment to take that last breath. And when she did, it was magical, it was beautiful, it was profound, and it was gut-wrenching for me. You know, it's just talking to this beautiful woman here, and lost her husband 4 years ago. And it's you know, you always think you have one more day until you don't. And then boom. And then you go into a state of shock, and everything becomes surreal. So my little issue was that in a state of shock, for the first time in my life, I had no resistance. I was defenseless against God. And he came in, and he took that broken heart that was ripped out of my chest, and he filleted it open, and he removed all the arrogance, all the self-centeredness, all the BS, and he replaced it with love. And I couldn't resist. I had no defenses, and there it was. So here I was, grief-stricken, in a state of shock, with a heart full of love. And a friend called me up and said, Mike, my sister-in-law is moving here from Montana. Her name is Amanda. She's 38 years old, the same as Margot was when she took her last breath. This was 1 month after my wife had passed. She's stage 4 breast cancer. She has 3 children. She's coming to the Bay Area because she thinks she can get better health care there. Can you help her? Can you introduce her to Margot's oncologist? I said, sure. So I go take her, introduce her to our oncologist. He says, okay, let's run some tests. Let's see where we're at. And so I go, okay, I got nothing to do, because I mean, for a year, my main job was to take care of this beautiful woman who was my wife, who was dying. And so I had all this time on my hands. And I said, okay, let's go. So the difference was Amanda was a minority, African American. She didn't have a husband. She didn't have resources and extra money. She didn't have good insurance. And so I just went along as a friend because I knew the process. And what I noticed is that she was treated differently than my beautiful wife Margot was. And she was either talked down to or talked over her head. It just felt uncomfortable to me. I just noticed it, and I didn't say nothing. Then we went back 2 weeks later to Margot's oncologist. He said, Amanda, the best protocol to extend your life are these 3 chemotherapies simultaneously. Unfortunately, your insurance will only pay for 1. That's all I can give you. I mean, I have to tell you, I didn't know this was about money. I really didn't. And I didn't realize it was about injustice. I really didn't. And I just instinctively said, here's my credit card. You give her whatever it is she needs. And that was the seed that would later become, a few months later, the Love for Margot Foundation. And for 4 years in San Francisco Bay Area, I would provide financial grants to women below the poverty line while they were battling cancer. Why? They don't have money to begin with. Now they have this diagnosis. Now they can't work, and their expenses have gone up. And there's no one that cares. There was no safety net. So I saw a need, and I started doing that. And I was there for 4 years. I probably, out of my pocket, donated $1 million, $1.5 million in Oakland Bay Area. And then eventually took it to La Quinta, and I donated a lot of money to another organization in San Francisco called the Shanti Project. I have to tell you, these women touched my heart like you cannot believe. Oakland, mostly African American, mostly 50-year-old grandmothers raising their child's kids because the child's hooked on drugs. I can tell you stories that you wouldn't believe. You would say it was crazy. There's no way that there can be that much pain, suffering, and injustice in the world. Then I go down to La Quinta, California, Palm Springs area. Legal Mexican women. They come here to clean our hotel rooms, pick our vegetables, work on our golf courses. They're exposed to 151 known chemicals that cause breast cancer. They don't have insurance. What the treatment they get, I can't even describe it. You wouldn't believe me. So after 4 years ago, I realized, hey, you're going to go broke doing this. And not a lot of people want to donate money to poor black women dying of cancer or Mexican women dying of cancer. And I go, by the way, they just get sicker and sicker and die. And what are you doing? I said, okay, how can I help? So I started buying water purifiers and juicing machines and vegetables, and he said, hey, come on, we're gonna strengthen your immune system. We're gonna get through this, right? Well, now they think I'm their doctor and I'm a car salesman. And I said, well, this isn't gonna work. So now what? So I started working with youth. We put 3 kids through heroin rehab. We started working with the youth of Oakland. And frankly, the nonprofit world is not, I enjoy the profit world more than the nonprofit world, because the nonprofit is more competitive and more cutthroat than the profit world. So I finally said, okay, and I ended up going to Medellin, Colombia. I go, I want to build a healing center where these people can come and to really learn to heal themselves. Because I really believe the only one is, if I get sick, the only one that's ever going to heal me is myself. And I know a lot of protocols, a lot of techniques, not only in the physical, but in the metaphysical on how to do that. And so that's what we're doing now. We're building a beautiful healing facility in Medellin, Colombia, with the concept being people with money will come and they will pay. It's a 16-day transformational health retreat. We spend the first week, we detox your body. We do juice feasting, we do infrared saunas, we do coffee enemas. We have about a dozen protocols. At the same time, we're giving you IVs of nutrients and vitamins. So we're going to detox the physical body, because that's what leads to illness, is all this toxicity that's out there in the world. And we need to be diligent in keeping it out of our body. But the other thing is, we need to be diligent what we put in our mind, whether you're sick or not. There's a lot of programming out there. I mean, you want to go nuts? I'll tell you how to go nuts in 30 days, okay? Every night you watch CNN for 30 minutes, and you watch Fox for 30 minutes, okay? And I promise you, in 30 days, you'll be nuts, okay? Same story, 2 completely different narratives. The bottom line is, they're all lying to us, okay? Don't trust them. Own your power. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about power and personal power and taking it back. See, because I know when I move into my heart, I can't lie to you. I can't cheat you. I can't take advantage from here. I can't do that. Now here, this is a dangerous place for me, okay? From here, I can do a lot of things, okay? And I've done a lot of things. You know, one thing about me, I've taken almost as many left turns in life as I have taken right turns, okay? So for my biggest asset in my life, honestly, is I keep getting back up, and I keep trying. Because believe me, I left home at age 14. I lived on the streets, so I have an 8th grade education. So think about that. You're listening to a guy with an 8th grade education, used to sell cars, and his friends were Brent. Okay? Yeah, 3 strikes. I can go to prison the rest of my life. But how are we doing on time, please? Brent, where is it?
He's back there. He's back in back.
Just tell me how much I got.
5-10 minutes.
Okay, 5-10 minutes. Okay, so heart, moving to the heart is where my power is, my energy and courage. When you live from here, see, fear only lives here. Courage lives here. Okay? And so then power. So once I'm living here and I have courage, then I got my power back. And I can use that power to create the life of my dreams. And then there's purpose. And what I saw here today was such a beautiful purpose of you guys coming back. Now, I know that historically you just want to come here and have meetings. Screw that, in my opinion. What you did back there, you have no idea the impact. You have no idea the energy that you've created out there in the world. And we need that. Listen, we all have our own individual consciousness. And I can control my own consciousness. I can decide to get up every morning, eat right, exercise, meditate, not watch CNN, not watch Fox. I can control that. But let me tell you something. There's a collective consciousness. Because when you understand quantum mechanics, you understand the quantum field, there is no separation. There is no time and space in reality. We are all connected by this field of energy that we breathe in that gives us life. And it's in this field of infinite possibilities that we can create miracles. So I invite you to move into your heart, learn to take this off. if you can, you know, I know it's hard to start meditating at this age in life, okay, but it's the greatest blessing you can ever give yourself if you can just do that. And I'll give you a little tip. There's a genius man, you go to YouTube, he's all over the place. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. Just study, he talks a lot about the quantum field, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, and how you can access that. So if you have someone in challenge in your life right now, just go to YouTube, watch his videos, listen to him speak, and practice his meditations. So I brought some books for you guys. And any authors in this room? Good, I don't encourage it. But I will tell you this. So my wife passed away June 18th, 2011. And ironically, I mean, she's dying, right? But she wanted a new house. So we went out in May, we're looking at houses. She can barely walk. She's 90 pounds. You know, they put a port here for chemo. They had to put one in her head so they could drip chemo into her cerebral spinal fluid. So here's this woman, and we're out looking at homes in May. It's hot in Danville, and you know, we buy a home. And so the greatest thing I ever did, because the last 6 weeks of her life, she bought every house decorating magazine available, everything about how to do a house. She's drawing, she's blah, 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 okay? I got the keys to that new house the day of her memorial service. And so there I am. She's been gone about 2 months. And when my kids moved me from my house to that, and anything that reminded me of her, they had to put in a box. And then I couldn't touch it, but I would seal the box, and I just wrote on open soon, I hope. Okay, because anything that reminded me, I couldn't handle it, I couldn't deal with it. I cried 100 times every day for 6 months. So I'm in this new home. I go, I gotta write a story about this. I gotta write a book about her. This woman was the most profound woman I've ever met in my entire life. She changed my life because she understood something I didn't. Love, unconditional love. And she loved me even though I didn't even know how to love myself. She transformed my life with love, and that is the real power. So I go, I gotta write a book about her. I start thinking, oh man, there's something in those boxes that I need to get. So there I go out and I get the boxes, I get stuff all over this living room. I don't even have furniture, just boxes of stuff. And what I found with her, she'd been writing journals since she was 12 years old, up till 38 when she passed. And now I start reading these journals, tears and tears and tears. I knew every story in the journal, but now I'm reading it in like a 12-year-old heart, a 14-year-old heart, a 16-year-old heart. Tears, tears, tears. Anyways, long story short, I wrote my first book, Love Unfiltered. And I brought some for those of you, and I know most of you guys aren't readers, okay? I already know that. So I can look at you and say, okay, reader, no reader. So about 10% of you in here read. So the reason I'm telling you about these books, because I want you to take them, but give them to somebody that's applicable to, that will read it, okay? There's energy in here, there's power in here. And so this book I really screwed the whole thing up, okay? The first few chapters are such an emotional read of this guy in amazing grief, and people love it, okay? But then I tell about my story, leaving home, losing everything, how someone taught me how you can manifest from the field whatever you want. That's in here. And then I go, well, we got to talk about health and blah, blah, blah. So this book is for anybody that's going through grief, anybody that's had a loss, they will find comfort, I am told, from people that have read it. So that book is here for you guys. Then I go, okay, well, you really screwed this up because this is a really dramatic story. I'm 24 years old, divorced. I'd walked out on my wife and my 2-month-old baby girl. It's 2 years down the road. I'm divorced. I got a 2-year-old. I got an 8th grade education. I'm 40 grand in debt. I have a drug problem. I have an alcohol problem. I left home at 14. I became a habitual juvenile delinquent, runaway. I have no future. And the guy in the 12-step program says, dude, your life is a mess. But I know somebody might be able to help you. So 24 years old, I'm introduced to this man. And so I couldn't remember his name when I wrote the book. So I called him the Mystery Man. He teaches me a process how you can manifest anything you truly want in life in 1982. And basically he said, Mike, you come here 1 hour a week for 7 weeks, and I promise you will get everything it is you want in your life. I have a $100 car. It's Northern California. It's January. I can't even shut the door car. It's been an accident, so I have to roll down the window. And I got the window like this. It's freezing. It's raining. I show up on this guy's doorstep disheveled. And he's not got the nicest houses in the world. He's not going, what is he manifesting? Anyways, he says, listen, here's how it works. There's no difference between imagination and reality. So whatever you can imagine, you can create. So we're going to create a balanced life. So you got relationships, you got money, you got career, you got contribution, all this stuff. And we're going to write an intention for every area of your life, and they'll all come true. Okay. First of all, what do you want most? I want my wife and my kid back. I mean, I cried myself to sleep every night. Or I drank myself to sleep every night. Okay? Because the pain of being disloyal, the pain of screwing up, the pain of this someone else raising my 2-year-old daughter was overwhelming to me. And believe me, I had no maturity. I mean, I was a mess. I grew up in a messy home, and I raised myself. So we write that. So imagine this. Here's a woman that hates my guts, and I'm writing an intention that says, Lisa and I are so happily married. Our daughter Michelle thrives in this love. Okay? About a paragraph or two. What do you want next, Mike? I don't have a job. I don't have money. I want to make 10 grand a month. Okay? What do you want next? I want to own my own business. Okay, what do you want next? I want to own my own house. Okay, what do you want next? I want to run a marathon. Okay, what do you want next? No, it wasn't what you want next. Next, you got to have a contribution goal. You have to create if you want a balanced life, you have to give back. Okay, my dad grew up in Florida, the state of California. When I was 10 years old, I saw Father Flanagan's boys' home. I want to create a home for troubled youth. Little did I know I would become one when I had that vision. But so those were my 6 intentions. Week 7, 1982. For you old people like me in here, you're going to get this. He brings out a boom box. He puts it on the kitchen table. He has a cassette tape with theta brainwave music. Theta frequency is what you're in from birth to age 8. You are in hypnosis. You are a sponge. That's why you pick up the language. That's why you can walk. That's why you can get potty trained. You are a sponge. And everything your parents do and say, you become it. Okay? You're a sponge. That's why, when 50 years old, my wife says, you're just like your dad. I go, what are you talking about? Okay, well, I'm just like my dad because he programmed me, but I don't want to admit it. Okay? So that's a whole other, we can go on that for hours. Okay, so then he gives me a tape recorder with a microphone. He puts in a blank cassette tape, and he gives me a relaxation script to put myself in what? A self-hypnotic trance. Then he says, read the relaxation script, read your intentions, and listen first thing when you wake up in the morning and last thing when you go to bed. Why? Because I'm in theta brainwave state. Right now I'm in beta, okay? And then I go to alpha, then I go to theta, then I go to delta, I'm asleep. So theta is where we can really pierce the conscious mind and get into the subconscious mind. What's the power of the subconscious mind? The subconscious mind, everyone in this room right now, your subconscious mind is taking in 1 million bits of information every second. 1 million bits of information every second. Then it delivers to your conscious mind 40 bits of information. Why? Because that's all your conscious mind can handle. So what 40 bits of information out of 1 million is it going to give you? It's going to give you whatever it thinks you want. So if I walk around all day, oh man, my life sucks. God, I can't get a break. Everything's always going wrong. What's that subconscious doing? It's looking for 40 bits of information that's going to prove me right. But if I say, hey man, I want to own my own business, I want to make 10 grand a month, it's going to look for bits of information. I own my own business 4 months after this. 40 grand in debt, terrible credit, 4 months I own my own restaurant. This stuff works. So that's what this book's about. So this isn't for you old people. Okay? Fine. Unless you want to jump out of the bed every morning like I do every day, and you want to go out there and make a difference and a purpose in the world, but give it to someone that really has a passion to grow and to live. And finally, the book I started to write the summer of 2011, it came out maybe a year or so ago. If you want to have your heart touched, and not because I wrote it, because it's about this amazing woman, Margot, who was my wife, and her journals, her energy, her love. This book is profound for anybody that's ever going to die. But if you want to have your heart touched, and it's called Living in Color because she always say to me, my love for you is so deep and so rich that I no longer live in black and white. I live in color. And she taught me to live in color. And that's my wish and my prayer for each one of you. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for showing up here today to contribute to the greater good. And I'm blessed to be here. So thank you very much.
God, thank you, Mike. Good talk. Good talk. I really enjoyed that. And I'm sure most of you did too. So look over his books.